I'd been in business about 19 years and I'd had enough. I got to the point where the early successes I've had in my very early 20s, which seemed to come very easy because I work in a tech industry that was quite new at the time. So it had gone from a time in my life where I just put my hand up and say, hey, I'm a geek, and people would say, hey, take my money, to a time where it was starting to have to become a real business. And I was working all the hours I could, and there just never seemed to be any money in the bank. So when I started working with Action Coach, it was a bit of a make or break thing. It was, I wouldn't say quite the last chance, but I was starting to look at jobs in fast food restaurants and thinking, that might be quite easier and I might have more money in my bank account. Prior to Action Coach, I never knew where the money was. The big frustration is I seemed to be working all the time, but never seemed to have any money in the bank account. So through Action Coach, I started to look at, well, where is the money going? And where should it be going? And what money should I hang on to? So pre-Action Coach, the most terrifying time of the year was getting my tax bill. And then thinking, oh no, I've only got 9 months to try and get this together. And then the day before getting the tax bill go, oh no, I've got no money for the tax bill. I didn't know it was a thing. I've been looking for support, and I'd looked to the local government funded places, and I was either too young, too old, had been in business for long enough, hadn't been in business for long enough. So there was just, I couldn't find peer support anywhere. Nick sort of became present in my world, and I started to see videos that he was making, and it just became omnipresent. So he wore me down. I'm not sure I had a business before. I think I may have owned a job rather than having a business. But for my life, I used to work many, many hours and kind of resented it. I didn't like the business. And when you run a small business, there's always a lot of talk about work-life separation. The truth is, it's very hard to separate your work life and your home life. And I think they need to kind of tessellate like gears. And it feels a lot more like that's happening now. Real surprise is just how, if you could like have the world's biggest, comfiest slipper that kicks you up the bum and just gently encouraged you along, that's kind of one important part of Action Coach for me. I know other people are like gung-ho, like a trebuchet being pulled back. But for me, just that little bit of gentle reassurance is really helpful. And what surprised me the most is how willing and open everyone who's involved with Action Coach is.